If I had to simplify the global economy, I simplify it into three regions. You have the Asian economy, you have the European economy, and the North American economy. All three economies are very powerful, and they're pretty much 100% of the world's economy right now. There's a very big distinction between those three, and they are that Europe and China, which make up the bulk of the Asian economy, they are an export-based economy. They manufacture most of the goods and services that everyone consumes on the planet. The problem with that is that they don't have energy to sustain themselves, and they can't buy all the products that they manufacture. And therefore, if no one buys their products, their economy collapses. The US has a unique economy. It's the largest economy, the most robust economy in the world, and it's because we buy and consume over 40% of all goods in the world. We are 1/3 of the global GDP. Think about that. 1/3 of the entire world's economy is the United States of America. So, reason I wanted to talk about this is because not all economies are built the same. So let's talk about each and every one of their weaknesses. In the Asian economy, right, you have an issue, and that's population reduction. So countries like China, although they have 1.4 billion people, they instilled these one-child policies early on in life that created a deficit of population. So they don't have a thriving population, they have an aging population and a dying population. Matter of fact, by 2030, the estimates are that over 375 million people are no longer going to contribute to the labor force. Super important to understand, because that means that manufacturing is going to reduce. And even though AI and technology may be able to give them the competitive advantage, they still have a weakness, and that's that all the product that they manufacture has to be purchased by somebody. So I'll pause there on Asia, and I'll move on to Europe. In Europe, Europe's economy, it's a thriving economy. It used to be the second largest economy until China took them out. But they also have the same issue. They don't have energy. They need to buy energy. That's what creates complications in geopolitics, right? Well, if you're Europe and you need energy in order to continue to manufacture and produce, and you also have an Asian population, they tend to make unlikely friends. So some of these friends are Russia. If you want to understand what's going on in the world, all you have to do is look at who needs energy. And that's why they befriend Iran, that's why they befriend Russia, etc. And what's interesting is that the US, being the largest military superpower, gets paid to protect a lot of these guys, but they tend to buy products from our enemies and therefore strengthen them. And for right now, I just wanted you to understand some of these weaknesses. The US is also at a very, very big weakness right now, and our weakness is that for the last 40 years, we've sold off all of our manufacturing. We've jumped on this globalist bandwagon, which has unfortunately destabilized us. And here are 5 key points that it's done. 1, we destroyed our steel and aluminum base. Well, if we were ever to go to war and we had to protect ourselves, who's going to build our ships? Who's going to build our tanks, our weaponry? Who's going to take care of our country? If we got placed in a hard place, do you think that the guys we're fighting, they're going to want to give us aluminum and steel to be able to manufacture weapons against them? No, it's a problem, right? We also import about 75% of all pharmaceutical drugs. So people get sick, and we're relying on them to bring us medicine, and we're at war with them. Do you think that we're going to be able to get that medicine? More than likely not. And if we're not energy independent, if we're consistently buying energy, then we'll be in the same predicament as Europe and China right now, which is that if their oil supply stopped and nobody gave them oil, right, they would not be able to produce anything. So their economy is contingent upon these relationships. We don't need that. In North America as a whole, between Canada, the US, and Mexico, we have all the energy we could ever ask for. So we're self-serving there, we're self-sufficient. We just need to maintain that. If you think about the things that you need, what does a society need? Well, they need food and they need water. We have access to water supplies, right? But food's interesting because just recently we started to diminish. I mean, within the last 40 years, we used to be the beef capital of the world. We're no longer that. We import most of our food in the United States, and that's at the expense of all our farmlands and agriculture. It's a problem, right? It's a national security crisis. And if you understand the world economies and national security, you will realize that if any one of these economies is ever threatened, then war is likely, and therefore you need to be able to fight for yourself. That's the reason why the US has got the largest military in the world. We're in every country. We could be anywhere within 16 hours. This is a fact. I can tell you this, I retired out of the United States Army. I was a soldier in the 101st Airborne Division. I had 4 combat tours to Afghanistan and Iraq, and I can tell you there's no more lethal fighting force in the United States of America. We don't ever lose sleep. We make other people lose sleep. So I have no doubt in my mind that having the strongest military is a powerful hand, but we have to maintain the strongest economy in order to be able to create this and maintain prominence over the world to keep the peace. So in summary, the 5 key points that you need, and you could pretty much understand what's going on in the world if you understand these points, is we need to have access to our own food supply. We need to have access to our own energy. We need to have access to our own military complex. We need to be able to build machinery, etc. So having steel, aluminum manufacturing is important. And we need to have technology. Technology is that which the next 100 years are going to be controlled by. He who controls technology is going to control the world.